Question number 16, we're given a triangle ABC and it's got an area of 40 centimeters squared, and we're also told that AB is the same length as two lots of BC. So first things first, I'm going to because we don't know what those lengths are, I'm going to just write down that BC is length X and AB is 2 times longer than that, so AB is 2X. That kind of makes things a little bit easier for us. We're given that information, so we're kind of guided into doing that there. We're also told that the area of the triangle is 40 centimeters squared. We've got to work out the length of BC. So this length X here is what we're aiming for. We need to give our answer as a surd in its simplest form. So this all revolves around knowing that half AB sine C is the formula for the area of a triangle when you don't have the perpendicular height. Like in this example here, we can use the trigonometry here. So knowing this formula is really useful. We have to rearrange it a little bit because if we start labeling this triangle, A, this would be little a, opposite big A, opposite big B, we've got little b, and opposite big C, we've got little c. All right, so if we label that triangle using these letters, that fits our formula here. But we have to rearrange it because we've got sine B, not sine C. So I'm just going to swap the B and the C around. It's not too much of a problem. So half multiplied by A multiplied by C multiplied by sine B equals 40. We can ignore the units at the moment. So 40 centimeters squared is what that is because that's given us the area. Okay, substitute the numbers in, or the letters that we've got. So we're going to do half multiplied by A, which is X, and I'm going to put it over 1 because I just prefer using fractions here and using the fraction rules, multiplied by C, which is 2X over 1 because we had a fraction here, can carry on with the fractions, multiplied by sine of 30 over 1, and that equals 40. We can ignore the 40 for a while. We just have to kind of work on this side of things at the moment. So this is a really involved question. We're getting 6 marks for this. We've got somewhere already. Basically, you need to know that this can be turned into a number. Sine 30, again, it's using your trig values. So remember in that triangle that we did before, earlier question in the same paper, right? You got your 30 degree, you got your 60 degree. This is the equilateral triangle we cut in half, the 2 by 2 by 2. So if that's cut in half, we've got our root 3 there. Not that we need it for this one, right? We've got our opposite and our hypotenuse. SOH, remember, opposite over hypotenuse. Sine of 30 is opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite is 1, hypotenuse is 2. So we know that sine 30 is equivalent to a half. That's a little bit of knowledge that we have to have, or have to have a way of working it out. We know that that is what sine 30 is equal to. So we can substitute the sine 30 with the half, right? So half multiplied by x over 1 multiplied by 2x over 1 multiplied by half over 1 equals 40. All right. So I'm just going to multiply all the things that are on the top together and then all the things that are on the bottom together. So I've got 1 times x is x, times by 2x is 2x squared, times by a half. So 2x squared, I'm just going to leave it as multiplied by a half at the moment, and then make that over there like that. That equals 2x squared over 2, so 2x squared over 2, and then 2 times 1 times 1 times 1 is 2. So you've got all of that over 2, right? And all of that equals 40. Okay, so this, I'm getting a little bit messy here, right? So I'm just going to box that off there. You've got 2x squared over 2 divided by 2 equals 40. So you could use your fraction rules here. Again, 2x squared over 2 divided by 2 over 1 is equal to 2x squared over 2 multiplied by 1 over 2, which is 2x squared over 4, and all of that equals 40. Right? So this is where we can go with this, kind of getting somewhere with it. Right? To get rid of divided by 4, we times by 4, so we've got 2x squared equals times 40 by 4, 160. And divide both sides by 2, we're going to get x squared equals 80. And then square root both sides, we're getting x equals the square root of 80, or negative root 80, but it can't be negative because we're talking about a length, right? So it can't be that one. So we're just going to work with the fact that it has to be this positive root 80. And all we have to do is simplify this surd, because remember it said answer the surd in its simplest form. So x, which is the length of BC, remember, because we labelled it as x earlier on. X is equal to, and if you think about the factors of 80, the biggest square number that you've got is 16, and 16 times 5 makes 80. So root 16 times by root 5, root 16 is 4, and root 5 is still root 5. Can't simplify that. So x equals 4 lots of root 5. That is the length of BC, which is what we wanted. So quite involved question. Ends up with simplifying a surd. Other things we had in there, we had some algebraic equations that needed solving. We had to know the sine 30 is a half. We had to know the formula for the area of a triangle is half AB sine C. So there's lots of maths involved in this question, lots of knowledge. And if you've got it, you can piece it all together and you can answer one of these questions.